Hello, everybody, and welcome to the New Flame Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Andrew, and today I'm going to be giving you my Week 17 NFL predictions, as long as some special guests. And let me explain who those special guests are. A couple weeks ago now, I got a dog. Probably weren't aware I haven't said that at all, but yeah, I got a dog. His name is Rocky. He's a Bernedoodle. He's about 9 months old now. So yeah. It was him, and then if you remember last year's Jersey special with my three sisters, Megan, her dog Lulu also gave her picks, and the way I've done that is I lay down 2 treats for each of them, and then whichever one they ate first, whichever one they ate, that's the one that I picked, and so yeah, let's get right into the picks with Rocky's picks here. He's taking the Titans, the Ravens, the Washington football team, the Jets, the Jags, the Colts, Bengals, Giants, Falcons, 49ers, Chargers, Cowboys, Panthers, Seahawks, Vikings, and Steelers. Some red flags here for my dog Rocky here. He's taking the Jets over the Buccaneers and the Jags over the Pats. I mean, I don't know. Looking back at him, I don't know. I don't know how those ones are going to work out for him. But other than that, I mean, very respectable list for Rocky. Of course, he had no idea what he was choosing. Just want to make that clear. But, still, I mean, very solid list, Of course, he's got to go against his own team, the Dolphins. Unbelievable. Anyway, here now we got Lulu's picks. And if I remember, I'll throw a picture of each of the dogs on screen. Lulu's taking the Titans, the Rams, the Eagles, the Jets, the Pats, the Raiders, the Bengals, the Giants, the Bills, 49ers, Broncos, Cardinals, Panthers, Lions, Vikings, Steelers. Some notes here. Lulu's going against her home team as well of the Jags and taking the Pats in their game. Also taking the Jets over the Eagles, the Jets over the Buccaneers. I don't know how that one's going to work out for them there. But other than that, very respectable list. Taking the Lions. You gotta love the Lions, But yeah, very respectable list. I mean, taking the Raiders over the Colts may be a little bit of a stretch, but who knows? Carson Wentz, he's on the COVID list, who knows? Been reaching out to Phillip Rivers, by the way. That's pretty interesting. And, yeah, those were the dogs' picks, and that'll be a weekly thing, at least with Rocky. Lulu's leaving tomorrow with Megan, and, so yeah, let's get into my picks now. Dolphins and Titans. Now, call me biased, call me a homer, whatever. I'm taking the Dolphins. I think even though, yes, they in their 7-game win streak, they haven't beaten anyone great besides the Ravens. I think just the fact that they have won 7 straight is just gonna carry them into this game against the Titans. Gonna go into Nashville, and I think they're gonna get the win. I'll be able to watch this game because the Titans are my local team where I live, so that'll be nice. Back-to-back weeks, I get to watch my Dolphins, so that's fun. Rams and Ravens, I'm going to go with the Rams, despite Matt Stafford throwing 3 picks last week against the Vikings. I know Lamar Jackson looks like he's going to be able to play. However, I just don't trust the Ravens team. I don't trust that offense. And I know they haven't had Lamar the past 2 games, but still, I just like the Rams. Odell Beckham Jr. finally looks like he's found his home in LA, so I'm going to go with the Rams in this one. Eagles and Washington here, and the football team has really let me down this year. They're 6-9 right now, but I'm going to go with the Eagles. Playing a lot better than what they did last year. Jalen Hurts is really taking that step forward. Sitting at 8-7, this is going to be a big game for them if they want to get into the playoffs, and I think they're going to want this win, and they're going to go into Washington and get it. Buccaneers versus the Jets, what do I even have to say? The Buccaneers are winning this game. Tom Brady's owned the New York Jets the past 22 years, and I don't see it ending this year. Gonna go with the Bucs. Jags and Pats. I'm gonna go with the Pats. For obvious reasons, they're the much better team. Jaguars, you couldn't even beat the Jets last week. They hold the number 1 pick overall, and as long as they don't, just fail, as long as they don't win out, they'll have the number 1 pick. All they have to do to have that number 1 pick is lose their next 2 games, and I think is very likely to happen. Ladies, Colts, if you haven't heard the tragic passing of John Madden, legendary Raiders coach, the face of a video game franchise that we all somewhat love today, John Madden football. So I think the Raiders will want to win this one for him, but fortunately, I don't think they'll be able to. I think Jonathan Taylor is going to run all over the Raiders this game, so I'm going to take the Colts. Bold prediction: I think Jonathan Taylor is going to rush for 170 yards and close in on 2,000 for the year. Moving on, Chiefs and Bengals. This is a must-watch game if you can watch it at all. Chiefs defense is amazing, has been amazing the past, really since week 8 here. It says it allowed 13 points per game since week 8, fewest in the NFL. So both of these teams are on a hot streak right now. The Bengals, we all know what a performance Joe Burrow put on last week against the Ravens. And however, I think the Chiefs are the better team, and I think they'll get the win today on Sunday against the Bengals. Giants and Bears. Oh boy, I don't know. Gonna take the Bears just because I think if Justin Fields is 100% or Andy Dalton is 100%, I think Matt Nagy have no problem starting Nick Foles after what he did last week and against the Seahawks, leading them to a win over the Seahawks. And also, what a catch by Damiere Byrd to end that game. I saw the title of the NFL video. It was like, oh, Damiere Byrd soars through the air, and I was like, oh, what is it, a diving catch or whatever, lays out or whatever. No, I watched it and I was like, Damiere Byrd? More like DeAndre Hopkins. I was convinced that they just took DeAndre Hopkins from Arizona and put him in a Bears uniform right there. Yeah, but Damiere Byrd, hero of last week for the Bears. And I'm going to go with the Bears again in this game against the Giants. Falcons and Bills. Now, I'm going to go with the Bills coming off a big win last week against the Pats for first place in the AFC East. They're going up against a Falcons team that is just clinging on to their last hope in terms of playoffs. And the Falcons, they're just not good. The Bills are, so I'm going to go with the Bills. Texans and 49ers. Oh, boy. Texans, I love you. You beat the Trojans last week, allowing the Dolphins to get into the 7th seed in the AFC. And I was like, I was going through all the things in my head. I was like, oh, man, we need this to happen. We need this to happen. We need this team to lose. And I was like, oh, well, the Texans have to beat the Trojans, but that's not very likely, so oh well. And then I checked the score at halftime, and it's like 16-13 Texans, and I'm like, oh my goodness, they might do it. And then, of course, Justin Herbert throws that pick six with like a couple minutes left, and it was over. And, but Davis Mills has been balling out. No reason. I guess it truly is the Tyrod Taylor effect, where either the backup, Tyrod gets hurt, backup comes in, plays well. This is what's happening again with Davis Mills. But I'm going to go with the 49ers coming off a tough loss last week against the Titans on Thursday Night Football. By the way, no Thursday Night Football game this week. Weird, but whatever. But I'm going to go with the 49ers over the Texans. Moving on, we got the Broncos and the Trojans. I'm going to go with the Trojans. I think they're going to rebound from last week's game against the Texans. And the Broncos, Drew Lock is your starting quarterback, and I understand that's because Teddy Bridgewater has a concussion and all that, but still, Drew Lock is your starting quarterback, and that's enough to make me not pick you. Game of the week, this will be the marquee matchup of the week, so we'll come back to this one, Cardinals and Cowboys. But Panthers, Saints, who knows, man. I mean, if Ian Book is the starter, I'll go with the Panthers, but if Taysom Hill is the starter, I'll go with the Saints. Saints got dominated on Monday Night Football against the Dolphins, and neither of these teams have looked good in the past, I don't even know how many weeks, but if Ian Book is playing as for the Saints, I'm going to go with the Panthers. If he's not, I'm going to go with the Saints. Lions and Seahawks, and oh boy, do I just want to take the Lions. Coming off a tough loss to the Falcons last week, man. I was sitting on my couch. I was like, oh, they were down by 4 with 30 seconds left. Oh, they're at the 9-yard line, and I saw Tim Boyle throws a pick, and I'm like, no, Tim Boyle, and but yeah, I don't. Man, I'm gonna go with the Seahawks just because they are the better team. I'm gonna go with the Seahawks. Vikings and Packers. Packers are the best team in the NFL in my opinion, so I'm gonna go with them, despite losing to the Vikings earlier in this season. And last, Monday Night Football, Browns and Steelers. Manning cast will be back in this game, but these teams are just so bad. You know what? I'm gonna do a coin toss for this. Heads for Browns, tails for Steelers. Let's look up flip a coin. And alright, let's see what it is. It is tails. So I'm going with the Steelers. Thank you, coin. I'm going with the Steelers. Just flipped a coin for that. Anyway, those are my week 17 picks. And now on to the marquee match of the week, Cowboys and Cardinals. And for the marquee matchup of the week this week, I'm going with the Cowboys versus Cardinals. Cowboys are at home, I believe. So it's, Cardinals at Cowboys. Whatever. You know what I'm saying. Injuries for these teams. Important injuries. James Conner, Rondale Moore, and Rodney Hudson. Rodney Hudson? Yeah, that's his name. I forgot. I don't know why I thought it was Hudson Rodney. Mind blanked for a second. All practice after not practicing. They all practiced today after missing past couple days of practice. However, Marco Wilson didn't practice, and if you don't know who that is, I advise you to learn because he was really good. He was making plays. Whenever I've watched the Cardinals play this year, he's always out there making plays on that defense. Cornerback for them. He did not practice today. So if they don't have him, it's Byron Murphy and Budda Baker in the secondary and Isaiah Simmons, I guess. And that's it. And at corner, you only have one guy, and that's Byron Murphy Jr. So kind of need him to play because when you have Gallup, Lamb, and Cooper on the other sideline, one corner isn't going to cut it. And then really there were just no injuries for the Cowboys. I mean, they were healthy this past week, and there was no reason risking injuries in that game from last week. What was it, 56-7? And I feel bad. My brother in our fantasy league, he has Dalton Schultz, Amari Cooper, and Dak, and he lost by 1.1 points in the semifinals to go to the championship. Tough times for him. But anyway, those are the injuries. And the keys to the game for Dallas, it's just going to be copy what you guys did last week. I mean, they played like the best team of all time in that game, really. They would just I shouldn't say of all time, but they played like the best team this year in that game against Washington, like I said, like 56-7 or whatever it was. And keep that momentum going into this week against a fierce opponent in the Cardinals. And if you can do that, I feel confident in their chances. For Arizona, it's going to be to expose the weak secondary with the speed of Rondale Moore and Christian Kirk. Expose guys like Trevon Diggs, who despite having 11 interceptions, is actually a horrible cornerback. Don't just take interceptions at face value. But if people want to say, oh, and Xavier Howard had 10 interceptions, is he bad? No, he's actually good. See, that's the difference. Just call me salty, I don't care. Trevon Diggs is not a good cornerback despite having 11 interceptions. He's not good. He's allowed the most yards in coverage this year. He's allowed, like, top 5 in catches this year. He's awful. He just happens to get a lot of interceptions, okay? I'm sorry. It had to be said. I'm sorry for that little rant. I'm sorry if I made you angry, Cowboys fans. He's really just not that good. If you dare put him in the top 3 cornerbacks in the NFL after this year, I'm gonna die. Actually, not really. I won't. I'm gonna cry. if someone says that he's like the best cornerback in the game. But anyway, and then also you got to hit the middle of the back to what I was saying. Like I said, expose the weak secondary with Trevon Diggs, Devontae KZ, and Keanu Neal. With the speed of Rondale Moore and Christian Kirk, then hit the middle of the field. Don't be afraid to go after guys like Leighton Vander Esch if he's even playing. That dude fell off a cliff, if we're being honest. But you gotta attack the middle of the field when Michael Parsons is rushing the passer, and you cannot be afraid of Michael Parsons. And you just gotta trust in your offensive line that they'll be able to block him. For secret weapons, I mean, Dallas, there isn't a whole lot to pick. They're the Dallas Cowboys. Everyone knows who they are. And there was not like some sneaky fourth wide receiver that's, gonna do something. I mean, I guess Cedric Wilson, but like, no. He's just no. So I'm gonna go with Dalton Schultz, the tight end. I literally wrote in my notes, just not much to pick from here, to be honest. And that's the truth. I mean, Dalton Schultz, I guess, is the most underrated guy on that offense. Then for Arizona, I'm going to go with the rookie Rondale Moore, picked in the 4th round. Speedy, shifty guy that can just, shake a few defenders and can able to have that big play ability with Kyler Murray's strong arm. So Rondale Moore is going to be their secret weapon. And for my pick, I'm going to give you the team that I just ranted on a little bit earlier. I'm going to go with the Cowboys. Look, their offense this past couple weeks have just been unstoppable. Their defense has actually looked pretty good, especially last week. So I'm going to go with the Cowboys. The Cardinals, just despite starting, 8-0 or whatever, they've just not been good since that Packers game. I think I saw all of 5 of their losses have come in the past 8 games. They're 3-5 their last 8 games. That's awful. So yeah, gonna go with the Cowboys in this one. And now for the final segment in this week's show, we got the fantasy sleepers of the week, and just honestly, there was not a whole lot of stuff that I could really choose from. At QB, I'm gonna go with Taysom Hill, coming back from the COVID list. They're playing the Panthers, not a great defense. I mean, decent pass defense. He's 43% owned in all of Yahoo fantasy leagues, so not bad at all. Probably is available in your league. Go pick him up if you have a quarterback that might be hurt, or you had Carson Wentz, let's say, and he's got put on the COVID list. 2 running backs this week. I'm gonna go the first one with Dale Ogunbowale, 30% owned in Yahoo fantasy leagues. Played great against the Jets last week, and is a starter in Jacksonville. And really, the Pats defense is good. I mean, the Buffalo Bills actually ran the ball decently against them. However, the Jags, are going to be down a lot in this game, so expect them to be passing the ball. Maybe you can get some nice little dump-offs in a PPR league, super flex league, or double flex league or whatever. Another guy, Boston Scott, 27% owns. Miles Sanders is hurt. Boston Scott normally plays well when Miles Sanders is hurt. Boston Scott and Dare Ogunbowale. What a name. Also, his first name is Dare. That's cool. Also, just want to mention Cam Akers, just 5 months after tearing his Achilles. It has a good possibility, according to Sean McVay. He's 18% owned in Yahoo fantasy leagues. Wide receivers, KJ Osborne of the Vikings, 41% owned. Thielen is out for the rest of the year for the final 2 weeks and the playoffs if they make it. And KJ Osborne is a great deep threat wide receiver. Kirk Cousins loves going to him on, big 50-yard touchdown passes. And that's a good chunk of points right there for you. If that's what you choose to get into when you start KJ Osborne. Another very similar guy to him is Marquez Valdes-Scantling of the Packers, 45% owned. Normally burns the Vikings. You remember last time they played in, week 9 or something. He had that big 75-yard touchdown. And don't be worried about what Alan Lazard did last week with MVS out. Lazard will return back to being the number 3 receiver. And for tight end, really, I don't really know. Cole Kmet, maybe, I don't know. He has a good connection with Justin Fields, and really, there's just no other good tight ends that are under 50% owned. I believe Cole Kmet was like 31% owned or something like that. For the defense, I'm going to give you two, both in one game, the Giants and the Bears. Giants at 3%, Chicago's at 42. Look, this is going to be an ugly game, not a lot of points scored. Bears defense is better in my opinion, and so if they're available and you don't really have a good defense, say you have the Cardinals or you had the Cowboys defense or something like that, go pick up the Bears or Giants defense. And for kicker, I'm gonna go Jake Elliott. Look, he scores a lot of points. I've had Matt Prater, and I've been looking at Jake Elliott for a while now, and I had him, and then I dropped him because of the bye, and then I didn't pick him up again until this week because Prater had some easy matchups. But look, Jake Elliott just scores a lot of points. He's at 25% owned, and they're playing against Washington this week, who's just, I would have to imagine, just absolutely battered after last week's game against the Cowboys. So, that is going to wrap it up for this week's episode of the New Flame Sports Podcast. If you like this episode, go ahead and hit the like button. If you like what we're doing around here, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And see you next week. Peace out.